All right, everyone, we're going to start with Luke Farrell, tight end. Go ahead and start us off.
Thank you very much, Mike. This is John Sudsbury with Sugar Bowl. I'll go ahead and kind of coordinate the questions once again. So, Luke, what I'm going to do, I'll introduce the media by their name and their media outlet, and then they'll ask the questions of you, and you can go right ahead. So we're going to start off with Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Luke. You guys have waited a long time for this game. Give me a sense of the level of excitement, anticipation. How much do you want this game, and how much did this drive you, this prospect, all year to sacrifice the way you guys had to?
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited to be back. This is right where we want to be. We've been talking about it all year, getting back to this game. And I mean, it's something that's been on the back of our minds all year since the end of last season, the end of that game last year. And we even have we have the score posted up here in the building. So it's definitely been on our minds, and we're excited about it.
We'll go to Clay Hall from WSYX.
Hey, Luke, how much was Dabo Sweeney's vote as the Buckeyes as number 11? How much is that kind of reverberate around the Woody? How much has it been emphasized or mentioned?
I mean, we definitely know about it. I mean, obviously we're gonna see that kind of stuff, but I mean, we're really just trying not to let it affect our preparation for this game. I mean, we know what we're capable of, so that's all that matters. And what matters is this game, winning this game. So that's all we're focused on.
Thank you.
Next up is Steve Hellwagon from Bucknuts Media.
Hey, Luke, I know in the game last year you played against Clemson, there were issues when you got into the red zone, had to settle for some short field goals. And then obviously that came up again against Northwestern, got it inside the 30 a few times and did score even a couple times. Has that been an emphasis for you guys in preparation? And not to say what you're going to do to fix it, but just talk about what needs to be done, I suppose, from a general sense when you get it down there inside the 20 or the 30-yard line.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's always an emphasis for us is scoring in the red zone. We understand how important that is. Ending a drive with a field goal is never what we want. So definitely a huge emphasis, and I think we're just need better execution in that area. But yeah, we're definitely emphasizing preparing well for all those situations.
We'll go to Austin Ward from Lettermen Row.
Luke, what was it like for you guys, the tight ends blocking and the way that the offensive line was opening holes for Trey? What did that feel like to contribute in that way in that win 2 weeks ago?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, we love it in the tight end room. I mean, me, Rock, Jake, Mitch, all those guys. I mean, we were saying just run the ball. I mean, let us go. I mean, that's all we wanted to do in the second half there. So we loved it. We're excited about it. I mean, I'm celebrating with Rock more on a block for a touchdown than if he catches a touchdown. It's pretty crazy, but we love it. Yeah.
Now go to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Luke, this is your second look at this linebacker group from Clemson. Just what impresses you the most about them? Why are they going to be a tough team to do what you were just talking about as far as being able to move the ball on the ground?
I think they play really hard. I mean, the guys they have there, they really buy into what they do on defense, and they throw a lot at you. They got a lot of different stuff, and I think our ability to identify and adjust as the game goes along will be really important. And I think we're preparing well for anything that they could throw at us.
Next question is Rod Walker from the New Orleans Advocate.
Hey, Luke, I know you were a kid then, but do you remember much about the game back in, I guess, the 2014 season when Ohio State came down and played Alabama and they were sort of underdogs and nobody gave them a chance? Do you remember much about that game just growing up?
Yeah, I watched that game.
What do you remember about the expectations and everything?
What you were saying, coming in as underdogs, and then just the fight those guys had on that Ohio State team. The energy and the emotion they played with was insane, and it paid off for them. Obviously, but yeah, that was an awesome game to watch. I mean, just thinking about that throwback to Mike Thomas, I think it was on the trick play, and just that whole game was awesome.
Next up is Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now.
Hey, Luke, can you talk to us about the challenge of trying to block specifically the linebacking core from Clemson as a particularly athletic group and just sort of what your focus is on there?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, they just have the ability to do a lot of different stuff. You know, they throw a lot of different blitzes at you and a lot of stuff that they don't show necessarily going up to that point. So just being able to ID that and get hands on guys and you know, being able to play with toughness as the game goes along because we know they play hard and we think we can play harder.
We'll go to Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch.
Luke, what is normally in a typical bowl week? I guess you'd be down there a few days ahead of time and do various events. Obviously, it's different this year. Just what has that been like, not having your sort of typical run up to a bowl game?
It's been kind of a normal game week for us. I mean, having an open week, just like a +1 week. Yeah, kind of like what we've had a lot this season with the cancellations. So really the schedule isn't too far off from what we've been used to this season. Obviously we haven't had all those events, so it's a little more, you know, not a lot to do outside of practice. So just, I mean, hang with my roommates really, but I think it's gotten us into a good routine, you know, going into a game like this and, you know, not really having a lot of change.
We'll go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Luke, with you being a senior, just what does this mean to you, you know, going to your college football playoff knowing this is your last chance?
I mean, it means everything to be back here. I mean, this is all we wanted, all I wanted all year, just getting another shot at this game to go play for a national championship. So, I mean, it's everything. It's, you know, the accumulation of an insane amount of time, effort, you know, work put in to what we do. So I'm just so excited to be here as at my last year. So, yeah.
Next question is from Tim May.
Yeah, Luke, appreciate it, man. You know, you've talked about this defense a few times already on this teleconference, but is there a player on that team that jumps out at you like Isaiah Simmons did a year ago, or is this just more of a complete, you know, you're kind of keeping an eyeball on everybody kind of defense?
Yeah, kind of the latter. You know, keeping an eyeball on everybody because, you know, I could be blocking anybody from a DN to a safety to a corner on any given play. So really, yeah, it's just like I said about IDing that and knowing your job description, how it fits into that look. I think that's huge.
Having gone against that defense before, just a year ago, does it give you a little bit of a head start about what's coming?
Yeah, definitely experiencing it helps. I mean, you know, because it's hard to replicate a game in practice. So we've already had that, you know, experience not too long ago. So that's definitely good to have.
Thanks, man.
Next up is Rob Oler from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, Luke, how much is this game, this exact opponent, a program marker for Ohio State? You know, it's Alabama, it's Clemson, Ohio State's right there, but until you beat them, I guess you're not right there. Have you guys talked about that, discussed it?
You know, we kind of just talk about how we play our game, and I think to us it is a huge game because of where it could lead to, and obviously not having won against this team yet. I mean, obviously it's been a chip on our shoulder, you know, since last year. I was a redshirt freshman in 2016, you know, so yeah, I think this would be a huge win for us. Obviously, not only being able to play for a national championship, but against the team we're up against.
We'll go to Dave Biddle from 24/7 Sports.
Hi, Luke. You guys have been dominant at times this year, but there's also been some lulls. Sometimes maybe you guys didn't play quite as well. Do you feel like the best is yet to come, like you guys are yet to play your best game this year? And how important will that be on Friday?
Yeah, I think definitely, you know, I think we haven't put a complete game together yet and still been able to have a lot of success so far. So, I mean, and it's always usually something little that can, you know, throw us off through the course of the game. And I think getting that back on track as fast as you can is going to be huge. But yeah, I think our best is yet to come. And I think we can, we're preparing really well to have that, you know, be the case on Friday.
Thank you.
We have time for one final question from Whitney Harding.
Hey, Luke, forgive me if you've answered this already, but having played this team last year, I'm sure you guys have looked at the film a little bit, but besides X's and O's, what have you all learned from that game, especially in the second half last year?
I think something that's huge for us always, but especially in the tight end room, is controlling the line of scrimmage throughout the game. I think that's super important as you get into the second half and guys get take those hits and going through running all those plays. It's super important to just keep controlling the line of scrimmage and get the ball north and south, not taking those negative plays and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the time, Luke. I will excuse you now so you can get back to preparation. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And we'll have Justin Fields next.
Okay, thank you very much, Justin, for joining us this afternoon. We're going to have various media members asking you questions. I'll introduce them by their name and media outlet, and we're going to start off with Jeremy Birmingham from Lettermen Row.
Hey, Justin, kind of a big picture question. How has Ryan Day changed you as a football player?
I think, of course, he's gotten me smarter in terms of knowing the game of football. But I think, the most important thing he's done to kind of just change my whole outlook on football, he just really he's really into the process and kind of howling on that. And he's really, I think one of the biggest things I've learned from him is the difference between talent and skill. A lot of people are talented, but, I think it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to develop skills. So that's one thing I'll take from Coach Day that I've learned.
Thanks, man.
Next up is Ralph Russo from the Associated Press.
Hey, Justin. With all that's gone on this year with the restrictions, the protocols for COVID, what in particular maybe have you missed? Something that was taken away from like the daily routine of life, maybe not just on the football field, that you're sort of looking forward to get back to, or that was particularly difficult to deal with throughout this whole ordeal?
Really just normal life. I mean, maybe just going to the store without a mask on, or playing with fans. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, that I miss. But of course, it's been a crazy year for everybody. So I'm just glad it's almost over and we're getting through it. So yeah.
We'll go to Bill Landis from The Athletic.
Hey, Justin, what is the key for any quarterback, I guess, when you're playing against a defense that's going to try to confuse you by showing you something pre-snap and then rotating to something else post-snap? It seems like a lot of teams have been doing that to you guys. Just as your job as a quarterback, how do you handle that and process that?
You just have to, stick to your reads and stick to what you learn in practice. Of course, you have to have a read key before the play and just see what that read key does on that certain play. So if he rotates to the middle or if he comes down in rotation, you just have to see that. And yeah, just pretty much go through your reads and stay calm in the pocket, and just make plays under pressure.
Next is Tony Gerdeman from Buckeye Scoop.
Justin, it looks like you guys will have Chris Olave back. How good does that feel, and what do you miss when he's not there?
Yeah, I mean, I just miss Chris being out on the field. He's a great leader for the receivers. Of course, he's a great player. So I think having him back, will make our offense better as a whole. I think me and Chris have a great chemistry on the field. So just having him back out there will definitely improve our offense a lot.
We'll now go to Stephen Means from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Justin, when you watch the film on this Clemson defensive line specifically the interior defensive line, what kind of stands out, makes them unique in comparison to some of the other lines you faced this year?
Yeah, they're great athletes, big and physical, and they know how to get to the quarterback.
We'll go to Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row.
I really had no choice, to be honest with you. So I mean, yeah, he had to step up in a big game, and I think he did a pretty good job of that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't trust your teammates, you really have no chance of winning. So I had no choice but to put my trust in Julian. And of course, he's a great player. He's young, but he's smart, fast, and physical. So I think the sky's the limit for him if he just keeps on working.
We'll go to Patrick Murphy from 24/7 Sports.
Justin, what would you say is the biggest thing you learned from playing not only Clemson, but playing on this stage and in this basically the same game last year?
The biggest thing that I've learned, just playing on a big stage like this, is that one play can change the whole game. So whatever that play may be, last year was the targeting call on Sean Wade. I think, from that point on, the momentum just changed. So really just play your hardest on each and every play, and just one play can change the whole outlook of the whole game. So yeah.
Next is Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch.
Justin, you said you're kind of looking back at the last Big Ten title game. Your thumb was hurting you toward the end of that game. You said it was killing you to throw the ball. How has it felt in the week or so since your last game?
I'll be good by Friday night. Play.
We'll go to Zachary Brazeler from the New York Post.
Justin, you mentioned the target call last year and how that changed the game. How much have you guys been hoping and looking forward to getting another chance at Clemson, and what is your motivation going to be like Friday night?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. That game hurt us a lot last year, so that's kind of been our whole motivation this whole offseason. Just getting a chance to play those guys again and getting this opportunity. Of course, we know Clemson's a great team. They have a great coach staff, great players. So we're just excited to be on the stage with them and just get another chance to play those guys.
Next is Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now.
Hey, Justin, every year is a little bit different. Every team's a little bit different. And while the comparisons are natural because you guys played these guys last year, I'm curious if you see any specific differences in the way Clemson's defense tries to attack you this year.
Not really any necessarily differences. Of course, they lost a few guys on defense, like Isaiah Simmons, Tanner Muse. So a few guys on the back end, and then but they also got some new D linemen who are freshmen who I think are playing very well this year. So schematically, they do a lot on defense, but I don't really see them just changing a lot.
Our next question's from Tim May.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Justin, as you look at their defense, who just, Isaiah Simmons kind of jumped out at people last year. I think when you watched the video, he's all over the place. Is there somebody on the defense that definitely catches your eye as you watch them on video?
I think they have great players all over the field. So, yeah.
And when you think about a Brent Venables defense, what comes to mind? I mean, what do you have to expect the unexpected? What's sort of your thought pattern there?
Yeah, like I said before, they do a lot of stuff on defense, and Brent Venables, he's a great defensive coordinator. So we just gotta come out there and come prepared and execute on the field.
We'll go to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Justin, sort of following up on that topic, you've talked before, I think even in this conversation about kind of enjoying the intellectual side of football. How much do you look forward to yourself and Coach Day, I guess, getting together and having kind of this intellectual matchup with someone like Brent Venables and the kind of defenses he's been able to put together at Clemson?
Like I said before, we know what we're up against. We played these guys last year. We're a motivated team, and we'll be ready to go by Friday. I don't really think I need to elaborate on that. We're just ready to go.
Next up is Steve Hellwagon from Bucknuts Media.
Hey, Justin. Last year in this game against Clemson, you guys weren't able to punch it in a couple times down in the red zone. Same problem against Northwestern, at least early on. What are you guys doing to concentrate on that and get 7 instead of 3?
It just comes down to executing on all cylinders, from the O-line to the receivers to me to the running back. So if everybody executes on our side of the ball, then we'll be fine punching the ball in the end zone.
Next up is Doug Lemeray from Cleveland.com.
So good the first 3 games of the year, and then you guys hit this stretch where you had a canceled game, then you played. I know you didn't play the way you wanted to necessarily against Northwestern, probably the second half of Indiana. How do you feel right now? Are you frustrated? Are you mad? Do you feel good, like you're on track? Just how do you feel about your play at the moment?
To be honest, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So, I think, what happened those games and me not playing as well as I wanted to, maybe God was sending me a message that I need to do more, work harder. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as a challenge. So, for this game, I've been preparing my butt off. I haven't prepared like this, the whole season. So, maybe I played the way I did because God was just trying to tell me for this game that, you need to lock in this game. You need to prepare for the game. So I'm not necessarily mad at the way I play. Of course, I was mad after the game, but now I'm just motivated.
Next up is Bill Rabinowitz from Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Justin, Doug kind of asked that question. You're the kind of guy who doesn't get fazed by things, but I would imagine you have extra motivation because of the way you've played against Northwestern and even Indiana. How important is this game for you to play the way that you know that you're capable of?
I think it's very important. Of course, it's the playoffs. Every team in the country wants to be in the spot we're in right now. So, we just have to take advantage of this opportunity that we have and, make the most out of it. So I know all of my teammates are motivated and I know all of my teammates are ready to go.
We have time for one final question. It'll be from Clay Hall from WSYX.
Hey, Justin, how's Uno doing?
He's doing good. Good.
What kind of message do you think Trey Sermon's 331 yards sends to Clemson?
What kind of message do I think?
Do they now have to be more concerned with what your backfield can do?
I hope they'd be. If they don't, then I hope my boy Trey runs for another 300. But of course, their defense saw that he ran, so I think they're gonna, take into account that, of course, a great running back. We have a lot of great running backs here, but Trey went off last game, so I just hope he gets a chance to do it again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Justin. You can go ahead and head back for preparations. We look forward to seeing you in New Orleans in a few days.
Appreciate it.
And we'll have Wyatt Davis up next.
Good afternoon, Wyatt. Thanks for joining us. This is John Sudbury with the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans. We appreciate you taking the time today.
Oh, no, thank you.
We're going to introduce the media members by name and outlet, and they're going to ask you all some questions. So we're going to start off with Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now.
Hey, Wyatt, congratulations on being named a first-team All-American earlier today. Obviously, I know you guys have a lot of team goals, but I have to imagine that's one that personally you take a lot of pride in. How would you grade your play this year? Do you think you played like a first-team All-American this year?
First of all, thank you. And, yeah, I do believe, and just as far as how this year went, I definitely feel like as the games went on, my play definitely has gotten better each week. And I think just a lot of that has to do with the state of the state and, not having spring ball. At least for me, that was my biggest takeaway was how important those reps are, especially with offensive line. With those first couple games, I felt like as a unit, as a whole, we weren't really able to really get our rhythm going until, we played a couple more. And then after that, now I feel like it's heading on an uphill route, especially with this last game. I think we definitely showed all the doubters that we had in the beginning of the season with running the ball that we definitely can run. So I would say that, yeah, I do believe I deserve it. But with that being said, at the same time, there's also a lot of stuff that I think that I can do a lot better. And I'm looking to improve on that this Friday and the week after.
Next up is Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row.
Oh man, it was huge. I mean, it got emotional for some of the guys, after the game, just because there's always talk each year. I mean, I feel like it's the same thing that we come across each year after the first couple of games. We can't run the ball, offensive line can't block, and just to really have a solid game where we were put in the position where we had to run the ball in order to win. The Northwestern did a great job offensively moving the ball in that first half. And, they were doing a great job holding us and holding Justin from passing all over the place. So just really having that feeling of putting the team on our back. And, we said, hey, guys, this is why we came here. And, we have a saying, it's always on us. Whether it's offensive line or defensive line, it's always on the line and who controls that line of scrimmage. And I feel like we did a great job when the team needed us the most. And obviously Trey was electric in the backfield. And I know that he was really happy after that too, because it's been a weird year, and he's had a weird time. Just as far as was at another school. Now he came in. He's trying to figure out his role, and I think he definitely showed everyone, what his role is on this team. And he's an electric back, and there was a couple times where it felt like, we had JK back there with how he was taking off, but he is so explosive and he's a great running back, and I'm just happy we were able to get the job done for him.
Next will be Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Wyatt, do you sense any kind of difference in Justin this week, coming off what by his standards was a subpar game? Do you sense an extra motivation, determination with him?
Oh, yes, for sure. It's not even just him, but him alone, yes. He's you could just tell he has that look in his eye where he really wants to excel, and I believe that he is going to excel. He's one of the great leaders on this team, and I back him 100%, but it's not only just him, it's everybody. We had a whole winter offseason program dedicated to this game. And clearly what we've seen all week, and I'm sure all of you have seen this week, we're going into this game not respected at all. So that has a lot of motivation as well.
We'll go to Rod Walker from the New Orleans Advocate.
Hey, well, I just wanted to ask you about, obviously your granddad made his mark down here at Grambling, and I wanted to ask you, how special it is to be playing a game in the state where he started, and just how proud would he be, and just his influence on your life.
Man, as you asked that question, it gave me chills just thinking about it. Obviously having him in my life was huge, and we were very close. He was like a second father to me, and I can only hope to achieve what he's achieved both on and off the field. And, hopefully I'm on that right path. And, I think that he would be proud of me up to this point. I mean, especially with the decision I made coming back. And, I had made some promises to him this year that I would step up in a role as a leader. Now I would just play my heart out and put it all out on the field. And, that's what I plan on doing Friday. And I know that he's going to be watching me from above as he has been this entire season. So, it's crazy because this is going to be my first time going down to New Orleans. And, I'm really excited. And, obviously I wish he could be here to see it. So.
Do you still have family down here?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of family down there. I have family down there I've never even met before, but yes, I do.
Next question will be Bill Landis with The Athletic.
Hey, Wyatt, this goes back to what you were talking about a couple questions ago, but I think when the season began, a lot of people might have assumed that the sort of identity of this offense would be Justin throwing the ball a whole lot to Chris and Garrett, and I know that's happened, but going over 300 rushing yards the last few games, the way you all played against Northwestern, what do you feel like the identity is? Is it possible that you guys are more of a kind of physical up front, run the ball kind of team than maybe most people would anticipate coming in?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I feel like we have all the tools to be that, and I feel like we displayed that this last game and these last couple games. Going against great teams, Northwestern was a great team defensively, and I think prior to us playing them, it was very few yards that they gave up rushing. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they were the #1 rush defense in our conference this year. And to go against a team like that that's well coached, have great players, and have big guys up in the middle, and to control the line of scrimmage, I felt like really showed what our true identity is. And I feel like we showed the world what we've known this entire time. And that's when we have the opportunity to run the ball, we can get it done. And we have the running backs to do it, and we have the offensive line to do it. And then if we go into passing, we have the quarterback and receivers to do it as well.
Next up is Ralph Russo from the Associated Press.
Hey, Wyatt, I'm wondering about this season beyond football and how hard it's been, or how maybe frustrating at times, stressful. Just like, what's life been like to get through all this? And maybe if there's anything in particular that you missed, or that was, again, created a little extra stress in your life.
Yeah, this is, at least for me personally, this whole year has just been one thing after another. Starting off with me just going through that time period when I was away from the team, it just felt so weird, to be put in that type of position. And then coming back with the team, just all the uncertainty. And what stood out to me the most, which I find to be the hard thing, is just how one day you could practice and the next day you're out for a couple weeks because of COVID, and just how rampant and easily it spreads. And, I'm knocking on wood here, but, fortunately enough, I've been blessed to not have to encounter COVID up to this point. And, I'm going to keep that going. But it's just a day-to-day thing. I mean, and holding guys to a standard that, you can't go out and hang out with people. You can't see your family. And for me, that's been the hardest for me because, being from California, if it was a regular season, I only see they do a great job of coming out here, but I only see them a couple times throughout the year, so that was probably the toughest for me, was not being able to see my family a lot this year.
Thank you very much for your time. We're going to move on to our next guest, but we really hope you get ready, get back into the preparation. We look forward to seeing you down here in New Orleans.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Head coach Ryan Day will be up next.
Welcome, Coach. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. We appreciate it with all the preparations going on. If you could start off with a brief opening statement, then we'll go ahead to questions.
Yeah, thanks, John. Just just got off the practice field, and teams are working hard, getting ready to play in this game. Really looking forward to going down to New Orleans and playing in the Sugar Bowl. It's what an honor to be going down there. It's such a great city, and certainly wish we were spending more time in that city and getting to know it. Been down there a couple times. Went down there for a Super Bowl, and just unbelievable culture and great people. So it'll be a different experience, but we're still excited nonetheless, and excited to play against a great opponent. Rematch from last year. So the preparation's been great. Everyone had as good a Christmas as we could possibly have. Not able to really be around our families, but the guys have overcome a lot this year, and now we have to finish the race. We got to finish it strong, and looking forward to continue the preparation as we head to Friday night.
First question will be from Austin Ward from Lettermen Row.
Ryan, you said last week you thought Justin would be fine. He said he'll be fine by Friday. Have you had to do anything with that thumb to hold him back or limit him? And do you have any concerns about what he could be able to do on Friday night?
No, I think he'll be fine.
Next up will be Stephen Means from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Coach. As a quarterback, former quarterback, and now as a play caller, when you're going up against a team where they have guys who can get consistent pressure up the middle of the line, how does that change your approach? Maybe the things you have to think about as a quarterback, and then now as a play caller, how does that maybe change your approach a little bit to how you call plays?
Well, I mean, this defense is second in the nation in sacks. They create a lot of disruption, like you said. Really good players and really good scheme. So, they've done it against just about everybody they've gone against. So we got to understand that. We got to understand the patterns. We got to do a great job in firming up protection. Quarterback's got to understand that, and it just comes down to preparation, understanding the different patterns that you're going to see, knowing that you're going to see some things that maybe you haven't seen before. And that's part of it. But they know us very well. They always have really good schemes. So we'll have to continue to do a great job preparing so that when we get out there on Friday night, we're anticipating as opposed to reacting.
Next, we'll go to Tim May.
Yeah, it's funny, Ryan. I think I asked you the same question last year, but I'm going to ask it again. When you're going against a defense led by a coordinator like Brent Venables, who has this huge reputation, et cetera, justly deserved, does it pique you and your staff even more to sort of figure it out and go to battle against something like that?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best defensive coordinators in college football, and he does a great job calling the game. Seems to always know exactly what the other team is doing in terms of the plays that they're running each play, and seems to call the right defense into that play a lot. And why that is, I don't really know, but I can tell you that he's been doing it for a long time, and it's a good challenge.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
We'll go to Ralph Russo from the Associated Press.
Hey, Ryan. Wondering, you've talked a little bit about this, about how the players have had to sacrifice so much. Sacrifices really from everyone. Have you sensed stress from them throughout this? And how do you deal with that as a coaching staff? Like a different kind of stress that you would normally, deal with in a normal year.
Yeah. There's definitely different stressors that are going on for sure, and they're coming from different areas. The stress of living a different life than you lived last year, and all the different things that come with it. Not being around your family, not being able to socialize, not having fans, not receiving the rewards of hard work. Games being canceled and handling disappointment. I think all that stuff adds up. I think the fact that they really had to stay in isolation for the most part, and then I think there's also the stress of the body, and the emotional toll this season's taken. I think that for some guys who have done everything right and practiced throughout this whole time, while others have missed practice, and the amount of people that have missed practice in the last month alone here is staggering. And so those who have practiced every day, that stress load adds up on them as well. So I think, like you said, all those things add up to where they're at right now. Now, some way it calluses you and makes you stronger, and that's a good thing too.
I want to go to Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Dennis, unmute, please.
Sorry about that. Ryan, I wonder if you could reflect on the circumstances of how you got to Ohio State. It was after that 31-0 loss to Clemson where Urban kind of retooled the staff. If that doesn't happen, are you there? And because obviously you've flourished since you got to Ohio State.
Yeah, I was with the 49ers at the time and had a few conversations with coach and, jumped at the opportunity to come to Ohio State, not knowing exactly what was in store. Certainly didn't in my wildest dreams think I'd be sitting where I am right now. But I guess that's college football. And it's been a blessing and learned so much about what Ohio State is, what the Buckeyes mean to so many people throughout the country, what winning at a high level means, and just blessed to be around such great people as Gene Smith and all the people here who strive for excellence. And it's been great. Our family loves it here. And you're right. I mean, sometimes I wake up and, you just have to pinch yourself a little bit because it wasn't that long ago that, we would never thought of being in a situation like this. But a lot of that has to do with the people that are around you. We have great assistant coaches and great players and great administrators here. And that's what makes this place great.
Next will be Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, in a normal bowl season, you guys would typically be there a few days in advance of the game, and you'd have all these festivities, and the team would partake in some of that stuff. This year is obviously different. Have you tried to recreate some of that going into this game, or is it just entirely different and just a game? What is that like?
Yeah, it's been very different for a lot of reasons. One, there hasn't been that much of a lead up time. Usually you have at least 3 weeks, at least 2 weeks. This was quick. I mean, this was, I guess, 12 or 13 days. Plus you had Christmas in between. So there hasn't been a lot of, downtime that way. And really, we're not able to do a whole bunch of stuff together that, other than practice because of everything that's going on. And, certainly all the positive tests that have come up over the last month. And so we've taken a lot of precautions that way. And so it's going to be more just like a game. We're going to go down there the night before and, get some rest, get to the hotel, wake up, get ourselves ready to go and then go play at the game Friday night. So yeah, it's one of those, things that we're just going to have to sacrifice this year is the bowl experience. And when you think about it, it's kind of a downer because you'd love to spend a week in New Orleans and, all those things that come with a bowl game. And that's part of the reward that I was talking about that these guys, it's been taken from them this year. Whether it's fans in the stands, whether it's the recognition, or whether it's the number of games you play in a bowl experience, those things do add up. You could say they don't, but they do. And doesn't mean you need to sit around and cry about it, but it's something you need to be aware of. And so, yeah, we'll once we get down there, we'll try to do everything we can. But in the meantime, it's getting ready to play the game, and it's all preparation here.
Next will be Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Ryan, it's rare, I think, even for a player of Justin's magnitude to maybe get another chance to go up against, one of the only team that's beaten him to this point, at least at Ohio State. I guess just how do you see this game playing into the legacy he could leave here and just the opportunity that's ahead of him as a competitor?
Well, I think he left that field wanting another shot. Now he has another shot, and he's not the only guy that felt that way. There's a lot of guys on our team who felt that way. And you would have never thought that you're going to make it all the way back here to go play in this game. And the journey was so strange to get here, but here we are. And now we have an opportunity to go play them again. And this is the reason why everybody worked so hard during that offseason, was to get to this opportunity. So now we got to go make the best of it. Do I know what it means? I don't know. I mean, it's an opportunity to go play Clemson and if we win, we go play for the national championship with everything that's gone on this season. And that's what matters. And, has it been normal? No. But here we are. We asked for this opportunity, and now we got to go.
Next will be Andrea Adelson from the ACC Network.
You mentioned practice a little bit ago. I'm just wondering if Chris Olave and some of the other players who were out against Northwestern have returned to practice, and how much of if you've got the whole team together practicing, how much that will help now as you prepare for Clemson.
One of the challenges for the last month has just been, like you said, the amount of guys that have been in and out for whatever reason, whether it's been for the virus or, guys just, being out because of injuries. The numbers are off the charts. So that has been a major challenge, is trying to prepare for games, but having guys come in and out of stuff. We have got a bunch of guys back. Guys are starting to practice now, and it'd be good to get some of these guys back to play on Friday night. But it's not like you just throw them back in there and they're just going 100 miles an hour again. There's a ramp up to it. They didn't do anything for 10 days, and they had to pass their cardiac test, and then you have to kind of ease them into it, especially the skill guys because of soft tissue injuries. And I think we're doing as good a job as anybody of having a really good protocol on how to get them back safely to play. But it certainly has been a major challenge, guys in, guys out. And like I mentioned before, that puts a lot of stress on the guys who are in there, who are taking the reps in practice, because you have to practice to get better. And we haven't had the luxury of playing in, 13 games leading up to this. So we have to continue to practice. So that's been one of the challenges this year. And it's something that our guys have embraced. It hasn't been easy, but they've overcome it. And here we go.
Next up will be Bill Landis from The Athletic.
Hey, Ryan, you've talked a lot since you've been here about your offense and staying aggressive. I'm just wondering, does aggressive always have to mean throwing the ball? Can a team be aggressive running the ball? Or just like, what's your idea, I guess, when you think of that? And why is that the preferred disposition, I guess, for lack of a better word, for your offense?
No, I don't think it's preferred. I mean, I think the idea is to score. It's like in the Big Ten championship game, we ran for, I think, 330 yards in a game, or I forget exactly what the number was. So, I mean, we're always going to strike a balance. We always want to do that. And I think when you look at the numbers, I think they would probably show that that's what we have. We have a pretty good balance. I don't know what our passing and running numbers are right now, but we always have to put pressure on the defense, and throwing the ball is a huge part of that. And that also opens up the run game. And I think that's part of how you attack teams. And if you're not executing at a high enough level, then you need to get that fixed. But whenever you start, not calling it aggressively, that's when, bad things happen. You lose confidence, and that's not the way we're wired. I mean, we're going to go out there and try to score as fast as we can and try to score as many points as we possibly can. But at the same time, keeping that balance and controlling the ball. So whatever that is, and then we'll look at the schematically what gives us our best chance. In certain teams, they load the box and you have to throw the ball. We didn't throw the ball as efficiently in the last game as we would like to have. Missed a few opportunities. Could have been a bigger number, but it wasn't. So that's what you got to learn. You got to get better at it. And so we're always looking for that balance. And being aggressive is both. It's sometimes playing with tempo. It's sometimes taking shots. And but at the end of the day, if you're forcing the team to defend the entire sideline and run and pass and the quarterback run, I think that's when you put the most stress on the defense.
And if I can follow up on that just quickly, last year in this game, you guys kicked 2 field goals from the 5-yard line, and that would seem to run a little counter almost everything you just said. And I'm just wondering how those 2 field goals have sat with you over the last year as you've sort of framed your mindset for this offense this year.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go back and replay the game last year, but one of the issues was field goals in the red zone and not scoring touchdowns down there. We had one called back. We had a drop. It didn't happen. So, we got to make sure that we're scoring touchdowns when we get down in there. But in games like this, we also got to be smart. And if our defense is playing well and kicking field goal is something you got to do at that time, you got to do that. I mean, you can't just be reckless either. We also went forward on 4th and 1 and threw a touchdown. I think it was in the fourth quarter. We're always going to be aggressive, but at the same time, you can't be reckless.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next is Rob Oler from Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, Ryan, how important is this game as a program marker? You guys are right there. You're up 16-0. It slipped away, but you've got Alabama and Clemson. How important is it that it is Clemson and that you have a shot to make a statement?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, Rob. I would say, in a normal year, I'd probably have a better feel. I don't know. I think this is more about this team and these guys on this team and the leaders and what they've done and their story. The story that these guys have and their journey to get to right here and what the final chapter or two is going to be. That's more to me what this is about. This is about a bunch of guys who have just been through so much and had the season canceled and restarted and then games canceled. And here they are right back to where they started when, a year ago to play Clemson again. It's just an amazing story. And I think it's more about them than it is like a statement about, where we are. We'll see if we can all come up for air and maybe reflect on that in the off season, but this is more about our culture and our team. And I really would love for these guys to have something at the end of the season, a big ring to show for everything they've done because they've sacrificed so much. And I think that's really the story to me.
We'll now go to David Hale from ESPN.
Hey, Ryan, given all you just mentioned, this might be a difficult question to answer. I know Dabo has been fairly outspoken about the idea that playing 11 games as they have is different than playing the 6 that you have. And when you compare this year to past seasons, do you feel like your team is in a different place, having only 6 games under their belt at this point in the year, physically, emotionally, mentally, or has the toll of all of the other stuff been so great as to sort of ameliorate any level of differentiation there?
Yeah, I mean, everything about this season's different, from the amount of games we played to all the above. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, we could talk about it for an hour, but yeah, everything about it's been different. And to sit here and tell you exactly, where we are compared to years past, no, I mean, it's totally different. Everything about it's different. The way we practice, the way we eat, the way we meet, the way we travel, the way everything, preseason camp to all of the above. So this is a different season in all areas.
Next, we'll go to Jeremy Birmingham from Lettermen Row.
Hey, Ryan, two-parter here. First of all, with everything that Justin went through in the last year, the way last season ended to the Indiana second half to Northwestern, how do you stop him from trying to do too much against Clemson when obviously there's so much riding on his shoulders? And then secondarily, how much did Justin change you as a coach in the time that he's been at Ohio State?
Well, I think the first thing is you just have to win the game. And I think one thing that happens a little bit at Ohio State is people want you to win a certain way here. And I think sometimes that's a little dangerous. But right now, there's only one goal: win the game. Doesn't matter if you win 6-3. Doesn't matter if you win 52-51. Just win the game. And I think that has to be the approach. Not, are we going to beat a team by 28 points? Are we going to throw for 500 yards and be in the Heisman Trophy watch or whatever? It's win the game. You win the game, you move on, and that's what matters. So I think that's the focus. And no, it's been fun. Work every time you have different quarterbacks come in, you learn a lot about yourself, and you build different relationships, and certainly have a special appreciation for Justin as a competitor and as a person.
We have time for one more question. We'll go to Kyle Rowland from the Toledo Blade.
Hey, Ryan. The fan bases of these two teams certainly view it as a rivalry. I was just curious kind of what you thought and the people in the Woody think. Clearly, you guys recruit against each other. You've played in a lot of high-stakes games. Just what do you think of this Ohio State-Clemson series?
Well, it's the second year we're playing them in a row, and they've won 2 national championships here. I think it's 4 of the last 5 years they've been in it. I think they've won 6 ACC championships, if I'm correct. I mean, they've been right at the top of the game for almost a decade now. So they're up there. And then, when you look at where Ohio State's been in the Big Ten, and playing in the CFP and our games against Clemson. If we continue to win, we're probably going to run into Clemson or Bama along the way. So, rivalry, and we're not the same conference, but certainly if we move on, then, we're going to see these guys. And so it's always great to get to this point and play against a great competitor like Clemson.
Thank you very much for your time today, Coach. We really appreciate it. And good luck with the rest of your preparations. We'll see you in a few days.
All right. Thanks.
All righty. And we'll have running back Trey Sermon up next.
Thank you very much for joining us, Trey. What we're going to do is have various media members asking you questions. I'll introduce them by their name and by their media outlet. We're going to go ahead and start off with Zachary Brazeler from the New York Post.
Hey, Trey. A lot was made of Clemson coach Dabo Swinney ranking you guys 11th last week. And, a lot of people have talked about the fact that you guys have only played 6 games. What was your reaction to Dabo ranking you 11th, and just what are the teams kind of hearing about only 6 games and that maybe they don't deserve to be here?
We're not really focusing on it. I mean, we're well aware of it, but I mean, our mindset is just to continue to practice and get better and be ready come Friday.
We'll go to Stephen Means from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Trey, you weren't here last year when that game happened, but obviously you were probably very, very aware of what happened and how everybody in that building feels about things. And given how you played in the Big Ten championship game and being around these guys and knowing how people feel about Clemson, I guess what's been your, point of view of it as an outsider who came into it? I guess how have you kind of been inducted into that national rivalry, for lack of a better way of putting it?
Just since I've gotten here, I've been told about the game and everything, and my mentality towards it all is just do whatever I can to help this team reach our goal, and that starts with taking care of business on Friday. So
next will be Austin Ward from Lettermen Row.
Trey, if you set a single game record in the Big Ten championship game, what are you supposed to do for an encore in the CFP?
Really just play my best game. I know that, like I said before, my ability, I'm more than capable of getting the job done. So I don't need to do anything extra. Just give 100% effort and, again, just play my best game.
We'll now go to Bill Rabinowitz from Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, do you remember watching the Ohio State Clemson game last year and what your thoughts were?
I definitely felt like I thought Ohio State was going to win, and it was definitely a good game.
We'll now go to Patrick Murphy from 24/7 Sports.
Ray, you obviously came to Ohio State for this last year to achieve something, and I assume there were personal goals involved, but the opportunity to play on this stage and win a national championship, what would that mean for you in this, what's likely your last year of college football?
It'll mean a lot. It is part of the reason I came here. I came here to play on a big stage like this and to ultimately win a national championship. So, I'm excited, and I just can't wait for this opportunity.
Next, we'll go to Tim May.
Yeah, Trey, I had Eddie George, the guy who stole his record, man. I had him on my podcast this week, and the thing he pointed out was the fact that, the way you guys have only had 6 games to really get going. You've only had 6 games to get going with an offensive line. How much different do you feel, even in practice right now, than you did 3 or 4 weeks ago after that symmetry you guys developed over the last 2 games?
I feel a lot different. Like even in practice, I can tell that, I'm just getting a better feel for the guys up front. Just kind of getting used to them and how they move, and just working off of that. So, it's definitely a big difference within these couple weeks.
Now go to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Trey, last week or 2 weeks ago now, I guess, against Northwestern, you were kind of able to really get in a rhythm and get going. Do you expect to share more of that time again with Master? And how does that affect things if it goes back to more of a split at the running back spot?
I've just been focused on just again making the most of my opportunities, whether they're split up or I'm getting more bulk of the carries. My mindset again is just to make the most of my opportunity and be the best I can when my number's called.
We'll now go to Ralph Russo with Associated Press.
Trey, so you transfer, the world goes on fire here, and things are very different this year with COVID and all the restrictions. I'm wondering how that's just been for you personally, as far as like getting to know people when you can't really do that, getting to know a new city when maybe you're limited in how much you can move around. What's life been like in a new place under these circumstances?
It was pretty tough at first. I mean, like I wasn't really going around the city much. I mean, I may get like food to go from someplace, but I mean, for the most part, if I wasn't at the facility working out or practicing with the guys, I mean, I'm just at home. So I mean, it was pretty tough, but I mean, I was willing to make a sacrifice to play with this team and play with my brothers now. So.
Next question will be Lawton Swan from Clemson Sports Talk.
Hey, Trey, congratulations on your performance in the Big Ten Championship, man. You're a kid from Marietta, Georgia, so you know this Clemson program to a degree. What do you see from them defensively that you feel like really stands out compared to some of the other programs that you've played this year at Ohio State?
They're a good team, and as far as like defensive wise, I mean, they fly to the ball. I mean, if you look, everybody is just trying to get in on the tackle, and I mean, just flying around as a whole on the defense.
Next will be Jeremy Birmingham from Lettermen Row.
Trey, when you woke up Saturday morning for the Northwestern game, did you feel different? Did you have a different, like, just vibe about you that day? Because I don't think most people can really understand the level that you were playing at that day. And I guess I'm just wondering, did you feel different that day?
Nah, I didn't really feel different. I mean, I felt good. I mean, because I knew I prepared well leading up to the game. But, I mean, I really didn't feel too different.
How much of the change in the first 6 weeks to now do you think is a result of your physically finally feeling confident in your knee, or compared to the comfort with the offensive line?
I feel like it was just more just getting comfortable with the offensive line, the guys up front. I mean, it takes time to really get a flow of how where plays are gonna hit and how guys move. And I mean, really just adjusting to the speed of this conference. Because I mean, the Big Ten and the Big 12 is just a little bit different. I mean, it's kind of the same just because I mean it's at the college level as a whole, but I mean there was a tiny difference. But yeah.
Thanks.
Our final question will come from Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row.
I wasn't able to do anything special yet for him, but I mean I was just explaining to him how grateful I was. I mean they were dominant all game, and I mean they were working hard and they made my job easy. So I mean I definitely thank them a lot, but I'm still thinking of something I can do for them.
Thank you very much for the time, Trey. We really appreciate it. You can head on back to get preparing for the game, and we look forward to seeing you in New Orleans in a few days. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll have Josh Myers up next.
Good afternoon, Josh.
Good afternoon, guys.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to have a handful of questions here. I'll introduce the reporters by their name and their media outlet. We're going to start with Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch.
Okay. Real
Josh,
quick,
how are you?
I'm good. I just want to say real quick that Trey Sermon got here 4 weeks ago, broke one record, and now Jerry Umig just basically forgot who I was. So I just had to throw that out there. Trey is now Jerry's favorite player. It's no longer me. Sorry about that, Bill. I just had to get that off my chest.
That's all right, Mike. You guys have said, Ryan Day has said that you guys haven't played your best game yet. That, obviously in sports you've played well, but not entirely. How much do you think of that is because the season's had no rhythm, that you've been on again, off again, and the fact that you haven't played a team until now where you could get away with not playing your best? Do you think that you guys, how much is there to that you think you can play your best because you're going to have to play your best?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. You're right. There hasn't been any rhythm to anything we've done this season. We've been, taking hits one right after another, whether it be games getting canceled or players having to sit out. And it's just been a really weird year, no doubt about it. And that, I think that plays a big part in it, that there's just no rhythm to it, and when it's in a season, you get so used to the weekly routine always being the same over and over. And it just carries over into everything. My week, like last season, my weeks never changed. Like what I did during the week, exactly the same every week to a T. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And then also the aspect of we could, the teams that we've played to this point, we could get by without playing, 4 quarters of really good football.
We'll go to Nathan Baird from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Josh, just curious yourself and maybe other players on the team, I guess you can speak for yourself, just kind of what you think this game means for Justin Fields. Obviously quarterbacks get a lot of credit, but there's also a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and just how much there is on him to perform well and kind of rise to the occasion in a game like this.
Yeah, there's no doubt a lot of pressure on Justin's shoulders in a game like this. But to be fair, there's a lot of pressure on Justin's shoulders every game. Even you go back to last season and how many big games we played in then and into this year. There's always a lot of pressure, especially on Ohio State quarterbacks through the years. If you look back, there's always been a lot of pressure on him. And I honestly believe Justin is someone who's built to handle that pressure. So I think he'll do great, obviously.
Next question will be Rod Walker from the New Orleans Advocate.
Hey, Josh. Wyatt was named first team All-American today, but what's he just sort of been like lining up beside him, and maybe what's something you've learned from him, and what's he been like as a teammate?
Yeah, he's been a great teammate. Me and Wyatt are obviously super close, and we've played together really right next to each other the last 4 seasons. And I've gotten lucky, man. I lucked out. He's an incredible football player, really smart, and works really hard, man. Me and him have gelled big time. So it's been awesome getting to play next to him. I'm gonna miss it, no doubt about it.
We'll go to Joey Kaufman from Columbus Dispatch.
Josh, if this was a typical season, you guys would be headed to the bowl game, Sugar Bowl, New Orleans, a few days ahead of time, and probably do some various festivities around the game. That's been the case. Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, Pass Bowl experiences. What has it been like not having that this year?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's such a shame because anytime we go as a team out to bowl sites, we just have so much fun. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year every year. As a team, we just have a blast. So it's super disappointing that we don't get to this year. We've really the turnaround was so fast, it almost doesn't even feel like a bowl game, to be honest. Usually, I don't know how many days we had in between the Big Ten Championship and the Fiesta Bowl last year. I think it was like 17 or something like that, 18. I don't know, the turnaround just seems quicker. It doesn't feel real, but neither does anything that's happened this year, right? I mean, it's been crazy. So yeah, it's a shame we're missing out on that because we always just have so much fun.
Next will be Andrea Adelson from the ACC Network.
Josh, I know you told me back in August that this was the game that you all targeted to have this rematch because of what happened last year. What is it like now that it's here, given all the adversity you guys have faced? And you just talked about pressure. Do you feel like your team feels pressure because of what happened last year and wanting to get payback, so to speak?
Yeah, this is exactly where we wanted to be. It's no secret that we wanted to win that game really badly last year, and it was extremely rough the way that we left that field. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to be back in this position, and this is where we wanted to be, and thank God we're here after the crazy year we've had. And I think we're just excited to get another shot at them.
Next is Steve Hellwagon from Bucknuts Media.
Hey, Josh. Wanted to ask you, last year in this game, you guys struggled inside the 20-yard line, had those 3 field goals first half, and then Northwestern last week, kind of the same thing inside the 30 were some problems. Just have you guys pinpointed maybe what was going on in there? I know you go back to that game last year. They missed a pass interference call in the end zone that hurt you guys, and JK dropped a pass, but which, those plays go either way. But just what's your thought maybe about what can be done?
Yeah, I think it's all little things, honestly. The intensity of defenses get intensified in the red zone. Obviously, there's like an extra defender there. With the back of the end zone being there. And so defenses definitely can buckle down and make stops in that situation. And as a team, that just leaves our offense with, no room for error, basically. And it was always like when you watched it last year, it was always little things, right? JK on that touchdown catch. Like you said, right across that play across the back of the end zone with the pass interference, but our protection could have been better, right? There was someone right in his face. We should have been better on that. And maybe Justin makes that throw if that doesn't happen. So there's all kinds of things that happen down there that are extreme. They may seem extremely little, but in the long run, it's the difference between field goals and touchdowns.
We'll go to Ralph Russo from the Associated Press.
Hey, Josh. So after a game in a normal season, I'm sure you get together with your family, celebrate, get together with your friends a little bit and celebrate. What has it been like this year? What's a post-game celebration like for Josh Myers after in COVID world?
Yeah, one of my favorite things about games is getting to see my family afterwards and talk to them. And it's extremely disappointing that it's not something that I could do this year. So they still always go to every game that they're allowed to go to, depending on where we play. And I FaceTime them on the bus or on my way, back to my house if we had a home game. So I still talk to them, but that's my way of getting to spend time with them in that amount of time, because that time is really special to me. I don't get to see my family very often as is. And it's a shame that it's the way it is, but nothing we can do about it. And so I just try and talk to them as much as I can when I can.
Time for one final question from Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports.
Josh, I wonder if you'd kind of relive one more time the circumstances and how hard that was with battling through COVID.
When I had it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was terrible. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. I tested positive and I left my house immediately, and had to go quarantine for 10 days. Didn't see anyone for 10 days. I sat there. I thank God I had some schoolwork for me to do, and to finish up on some finals, at least those first couple of days. So I didn't completely lose my mind then, but boy, towards the end of it, I mean, I was watching film on Michigan State constantly, just trying to, help the guys out. I had nothing else to do. Texting all the guys who started that week and, sending them stuff and trying to be a part of it as much as I could. Cause man, I was sick not getting, not to be able to be there. Another thing too, like Max Ray is one of my best friends. And, him getting his first start, that's something I would have loved to have been there. I can't even express how badly I wish I could have been there for that, so I could see him do it in person. It was hard. It was hard to just sit there and not be able to be a part of it. But I got through it, so here we are, right?
Was there a dorm that they put you in, or what was the isolation like?
I had a separate place to stay from. It's a hotel, but I did not stay in a hotel. I stayed in a separate building in the middle of nowhere, a cabin.
Thank you very much for the time, Josh. We'll let you get back to preparations now, and good luck the rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Hope everybody has a good one.
Alrighty, up next will be wide receiver Garrett Wilson.
Welcome, Garrett. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with some of us today.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll start off. I'll introduce the media members and their media outlet, and we'll let you answer the questions. We'll start off with Stephen Means from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Garrett, that Big Ten championship game with Chris Olave not playing, depending on what he decides to do after this season, might have been a preview of what next year might look like for you in this receiving core. Did you learn anything from that game, from how maybe they schemed up for you or game planned specifically for you?
I know playing in that game was a little frustrating, but once Trey got rolling, I knew what I had to do the rest of the game, just make blocks and spring them on bigger runs. So, it was definitely a frustrating game, and like you said, I feel like they had a good game plan to stop what we were doing, passing the ball. But with Trey, like I said, with Trey getting going, that made everything a little smoother for me, and I wasn't as frustrated as I thought I would be.
We'll go to Zachary Braziler from the New York Post.
Garrett, a lot has been made of Dabo ranking you guys 11th last year. He's joked about, he could run for office in Michigan because of, I guess, some of the stuff with you guys. What is the rivalry like between these two teams, and what was your reaction to, all the stuff about him ranking you guys where he did?
We definitely heard about it, so I'm not gonna sit here and say we didn't hear about it and we didn't react to it. But with us, it was just fuel to our fire. We had a good week of practice so far, and I think that he kind of fueled it a little bit. So it's been a lot easier to go out there and put the work in, and know that we're preparing for Clemson, like you say, because this rivalry that has built up over these last couple of years. So they're a great team. We're a great team, and whenever two teams get together that are two high caliber teams like us, it's gonna be a rivalry. So we expected some of the trash talking and all that stuff.
Next, we'll go to Austin Ward from Lettermen Row.
Garrett, how has Justin looked to you guys for the last week or so? I know there's been a little bit of concern maybe about the thumb and the way he finished the game against Northwestern. How's he looking? How confident are you wide receivers for how he'll look on Friday night?
Yeah, personally, I'm as confident as ever in Justin. So anytime he takes the field, just being the way I am playing receiver, I feel like, I'm in good hands. So he's looked good throwing the ball all week. And that's all I really say on that.
Next, we'll go to Tony Gerdeman from Buckeye Scoop.
Garrett, why is it important for you to have Chris Olave out there with you?
Yeah, Chris being a great player, he's going to open everything up in the offense. So, I mean, DBs can't lean one way or another without, feeling it a little bit. So Chris opens up the whole offense. He can attack people downfield, run the full route tree. So getting Chris back, that's going to be huge.
Next question will be from Tim May.
Garrett, as you watch their defense, I mean, obviously them ranking you up, the coach ranking you guys 11th and all that kind of stuff is what it is. But when you watch their defense, what just jumps out to you about them? I mean, they have a highly regarded defensive coordinator in Brent Venables and stuff. And what makes them special in your regard? What will be the challenge on Friday night for you guys?
I'd say the biggest challenge for me being in the slot is just realizing how multiple they are and being able to adapt to every defense, every coverage they're giving me. So being able to analyze that stuff pre-snap and then, make adjustments post-snap, that's going to be the biggest thing for me, getting open. We got a lot of respect for their defense. Everyone in the offensive staff room does. I know that, and a lot of the players do. So, we can't wait to match up with the great defense. We feel like we're one of the top offenses. So can't wait.
We'll now go to Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now.
Garrett, because of everything that you guys have gone through this year, does it almost help that maybe this really short build-up to such an important game kind of feels like a blur? I mean, usually you've got a really long time between the Big Ten championship and a potential semifinal game. The fact that you guys have had so much disruption and chaos, does that in any way help you guys just focus on the moment to get ready this weekend?
Yeah, I think having the shorter, time span to prepare is something that, benefits me personally, just because you can kind of lose yourself, when you find yourself preparing for a team for 4 weeks, so it can be harder to stay locked in and stuff like that. But with the way this schedule worked out this season, I feel like everyone knows exactly what we're playing for. We're playing for it in a week or less than that. But whenever we had started practicing, it was a week. So, it wasn't that feeling like, oh, we're not even really, practicing for nothing right now. It was always, we see our opponent.
We'll now go to Bill Rabinowitz from Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Garrett. We all know how the game last year ended for Chris, and obviously with COVID, there was a question as to whether he would be able to play this game. Do you get a sense from him how much this game means to him?
Yeah. I talked to him after that game, and all we talked about is getting another shot at playing Clemson and another shot at playing for a national championship. So, a year later, we're right back in the same scenario, and I know that he just wants to make the most of it. We all trust Chris. We all know he's the best receiver in the nation. So, if we got Chris out there, we feel good.
Next will be Patrick Murphy from 24/7 Sports.
Garrett, last year in this game, you made that big catch and had a couple plays, but fast forward a year and you're one of the top 2 receivers on this team. How much different do you feel going into this game this time around? How much more prepared? And what kind of impact do you think you can make because of that?
Yeah, being prepared just comes with the reps. So, last year having a different role, I wasn't getting those reps throughout the week, but, the 4 weeks of preparation kind of made up for that, I guess you can say. But, this past season, it's been different with everything, and having only 2 weeks to prepare, I've got my reps in. And, it's definitely a, totally different approach to the game. I know that the offense is going to be relying on me more heavily than it was last year. And, I feel like I'm, able to make all the plays that I'll need to make.
Now go to Doug Lemeray from Cleveland.com.
Garrett, how many photos of the leaping Clemson catch last year do you have in your apartment right now?
Just one. But I made sure it's the biggest one. So that means
take up the whole wall, or how big is it?
It's pushing life size. It's pushing it. It's not there though, but it's hard. It looked good. It looked good in the room.
Next, we'll go to Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row.
Yeah, I've never played a game without him. So since I got here, he's been here, and he's been a big impact on our offense. So it was definitely different not having Chris out there. Some of the play calls you usually see called don't get called and stuff like that. Some of the defenses that you usually see get called or roll into different sides now. So it was definitely a different game, but I feel like I had a different approach to it. I knew I had to take on more of a leadership role because Chris wasn't going to be there. So, I mean, getting Chris back, you know, that would be good. Yeah, I mean, getting that analysis from the sideline after each play on what he saw versus what I saw is huge. You know, and I mean, Coach Key did a great job, you know, filling in, but everyone has their own eye for the game. Everyone sees something differently. So just being able to get that second opinion from, you know, from Coach Hart, that'll be great to have on the sideline.
Thank you very much, Garrett. We really appreciate your time. You can head back to your preparations now, and we look forward to seeing you in New Orleans in a few days.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Take care. Appreciate you, Jared.
We'll wrap it up with offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson next.
Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for joining us. This is John Sudsbury from the Sugar Bowl. I'm going to be moderating today. If you can start off with a brief opening statement, then we'll go to questions from the media.
Good to see everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Again, we've kind of been in a mode here of kind of same timeline of preparation. So I think we've got a good model of how we've been preparing here the last couple, 3 weeks. It's kind of a different bowl scenario this year. You know, you're kind of here with your practice site and the routine, not as much time in between, not the recruiting piece in between, not all the award shows and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more like a championship week, like Clemson used to playing in the ACC championship, like we've had the good fortune of doing the Big Ten. So like a preparation, we've had some good work. It's going to be a tremendous challenge. They do a great job on defense as always. And we're prepping well so far. Looking forward to finishing the week and having a best showing we can have here Friday night down there in New Orleans.
We'll go ahead to questions, starting with Bill Landis from The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, I'm wondering if at any point over the last couple of years you've noticed it becoming more difficult to do kind of check with me stuff at the line of scrimmage and having to either huddle or play like at a really fast tempo to give the offense more of an advantage, because, you know, especially against this team, you check, they check, you check, they check. It seems like you can get yourself into a little bit of a pickle there if you got into that kind of rhythm.
I think since we've been here, you know, Bill, like I remember the first year we did this years ago, 20 years ago at Northwestern, and after that year, everybody thought we were smart, and they started asking questions, well, you want to run this play to a 3 technique or this play to a 1? And, well, if we can't block the 3 or can't block the 1, we're going to lose. You know, every play needs to have a single high or a 2 deep answer in the passing game. You got to have your protection. So since we've been over here with what Coach Meyer had going in place and with what Ryan and I had started with, and a lot of plays sometimes have a lot of answers. So, if you're trying to find the perfect play, you need to, I always used to use the word reasonably sound. You're not going to be perfectly sound, but you got to be reasonably sound. Clemson does a great job creating negative plays. I think they're second in the nation in sacks, second in the nation in lost yardage, lost tackles for loss. So you got to do plays where you don't give up the negatives. You're reasonably clean. You're protecting the quarterback. So you can do, you can always get cute. You can always have the I guess the chalk last, whether it be the O or D. But at the end of the game, it's going to come down to blocking. It's going to come down to tackling. It's going to come down to ball security. It's going to come down to short yardage and scoring situations. And like I always said for the last years, every day somebody's kicking somebody's butt. And whether it be in the media world, you guys are writing great articles or not, whether it be coaches, we're recruiting great guys or not, and practicing well or not, winning games, every day you got to go out and kick some tail. And we can get cute with signals and scheme, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to play well. And they do a tremendous job of scheme, but they do a tremendous job of playing hard, playing physical, and kicking butt. And that's why they're a great defense every year. That's Coach Venables.
Next, we'll go to Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Yeah, you mentioned they're a team that gets a lot of pressures. It seems like, Justin, maybe in a couple of these games, teams have been able to make him a little bit uncomfortable with blitzing. Are there things that you guys can do as coaches to help him be more comfortable in those situations?
Well, and great question, because again, I do think, the really good teams can, one, create pressure, and as you create pressure, not give up big plays. So your ability to make your protections work, your ability to make your identifications work, your ability to make your offensive line or tailbacks work to figure out who's coming. And then also, by the way, the coverage is changing. So the quarterback's feeling people moving around him. So the best way for one, you practice well, and Coach Dan, Coach Dennis do a great job with their meetings and prep, but that quarterback looks great when everybody's functioning around him really well. And this is going to be a stressful game because of all the stress that Clemson brings with their different looks, their different formations, their different fronts, coverages, pressures, twists, blitzes. But bottom line, they make you work. They make every play is a fist fight in the passing game from a protection standpoint, whether it be one-on-one rush or twist or pressures. And then every play for Justin's a fight because the pictures are changing and your ability to process and get to the right read and distribute the ball on time, on target, as there's a lot of moving parts. So, he's a tremendous player. And I think his quarterback rating is still, I think, one of the all-time highs in the history of the game. So I think he will do well, but he will do better, as all quarterbacks do, when the surrounding parts do their job to help him.
Next, we'll go to the line of Doug Lesmerises from Cleveland.com.
Hey, Kevin, a little more on Justin. First 3 games of the year, he's 11 touchdowns, no picks, 87 or 88% completion, just almost playing perfect. In the last 3 games, I think it's 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. We know you guys got in that rhythm where you had a canceled game, then you play, then a canceled game, then you play. Ryan was out, Corey was out, Chris Olave's out. How much did that affect Justin and the whole offense? And where do you see Justin right now in his preparation to try to play his best game Friday?
I think he's been preparing and practicing really well. I think he gets, with Coach Day and his background, I think in some strong guidance and direction on how to prepare and how to practice and study. And then we work really hard. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how many times you guys will get a chance to see us at practice, but I basically run the scout defense, and we're doing it because I'm trying to give them the looks the best we can. So you're getting a game look, and that's hard because your young players and your scout team players aren't quite as talented as what you're going to go against on the field, but you're really working hard just to create those looks. I know. In the one game when Coach Day was out, we did put up some pretty good numbers. Even the last couple of games, I think we're putting over 500 yards. So we're running it well. So it's nice. The other parts are picking it up. It'll be difficult to run like we've ran the last few games against Clemson, but I think the balance has made it a complete deal. And maybe those numbers initially were almost too high, unrealistic high. I don't know if anybody's completed 87% for the year. But again, again, if he's been off a little bit, I think as much as anything, maybe as a player, sometimes you can try, maybe you can have a choice you might want back. But at the end of the day, I just think as we as a unit play more complete, his talent, his greatness, his playmaking ability takes off. And Doug, and I think we're okay. Did you guys get any lake effect snow up there this week? Did you get pounded up there in Cleveland a little bit? Yeah, I see it. Thumbs up. All right.
Next up is Bill Rabinowitz from Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Kevin, I asked Garrett this. Chris Olave, I would imagine as much as anybody on this team wants to play in this game, especially after missing the Northwestern game. What's your sense of him, and just how different is this offense with him in it?
Well, I think there's a comfort factor with the timing and the time that we're talking, Justin, that they've had together. So I think whether you call that a security blanket, I don't know if I'd say that, but I think there's a lot of confidence. He tracks deep balls unbelievably well and has great spatial awareness. And I think there's a lot of confidence that I think, Justin knows in time if he's going to him that, but between he and Garrett, particularly as years went long, that those guys had a great chance if he could get at someone on target to make a play for him. So he's a tremendous player, and it's good to have him back practicing. He's looking well. We'll see how the week keeps going. But he's one of the best deep ball threats, not because he's fast, just his ability. I think his baseball background, playing center field, his ability to track deep balls has been very impressive through the years. And he's one of our veteran players. He's a great player. I know he took last year personal, maybe a little bit more personal than he should, but I think it's what competitors do. And I know he's looking forward to continuing preparation and going out Friday night and seeing how the game unfolds for him and the opportunities he has.
Next will be Rod Walker from the New Orleans Advocate.
Hey, Coach, Wyatt Harris made All-American today. I just want to ask you what he sort of meant to that front for you all.
He's really very, very tough, physical, stout, playing hard, has a little bit of old school nastiness to him. Both he and Josh Myers in there, kind of side by side. Made a commitment to come back. A lot of guys are opting for this, and he opted to come back and, be a Buckeye, and help his teammates and give us a chance to maybe play for a conference championship and now have a chance to play in the Final Four here. So he did that because he's not only a great player, but he's a great teammate. You guys don't see a lot of this, but as hard as he plays, as physically plays, as tough as he is, sometimes the best thing he does when he brings the juice and he talks to our team, he carries a lot of clout. He has a lot of heart, a lot of conviction. He not only does he talk that talk, but he walks the walk. He's a tremendous player. His accolades are well-deserving, and proud of him. And glad we get to go to war with him this week.
Next up is Tim May.
Thank you very much. Hi, Coach. I was just wondering.
Going back to that window too now, that's going to be a great battle of the linebackers that Clemson has and their toughness and physicality with Wyatt. Those are some tremendous one-on-one matchups. I was just watching some tape of last year's game, and their linebackers after a couple plays were even almost congratulating each other. The other opponent, JK and the one linebacker locked up one time. That play, you can see them like appreciating and respecting each other, how tough they play. So that's going to be exciting watching Wyatt and our inside guys against those great linebackers that Brent has.
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, you guys have played these guys before. You're familiar. You had success moving the ball on these guys last year. How much does that help? Just the demeanor, plus adding the fact that the way you guys have run the ball the last 2 weeks, the last two games especially. How much does that help the confidence, the demeanor of this offense headed into this game?
I think I don't know if I think sometimes it can be talked. I don't know how many times I think our players are not somewhat confident going into games. I think there's a lot of self-assuredness our guys have, the way we work, the talent they have, the competition we create in practice, going against each other, et cetera. Having played against them, I guess some things come back, or you can physically put on plays and like see a blitz they're doing this year. Hey, they did that blitz last year. That's going to happen again, but you can see the players you're going against. You can see yourself competing against their players. But at the same time, what you got is ultimate respect, because you got as consistent a program in college football this decade, and it shows up every week. And having worked with Coach Venables for 9 years, I know the way he coaches, the way he teaches, the way he leads those guys, the way his kids play, the way their defense plays. So you got your hands full. So it's nice to have a lot of confidence, but it is going to be, and it's nice that we moved the ball last year, but the key thing is not moving the ball, it's getting points. And you're not, in this day and age of college football, you're not going to win championships kicking field goals. You're not going to win championships scoring 17, 21 points. You got to get in the end zone. So we had some success, but we got to find more success, Tim, because it was not good enough last year.
We have time for one more. We'll go to Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports.
Hey, Kevin. How you doing?
Very well, Dennis.
Just wanted you to reflect on how you got there. Obviously, you were available in 2016, but just the circumstances after that playoff game. If Clemson doesn't beat Ohio State and shut them out, Urban doesn't retool the offensive staff, and here you guys are.
Yeah, just very fortunate, very grateful, not wishing ill luck or ill will on anyone, but that the opportunity was allowed to be here. I've had the opportunity to have coached at Oklahoma and Ohio State now for 13 years. I think in the last 50 years, I think Ohio State's number one and Oklahoma's number two and wins the last 50 years. Those are two most winning teams. I've also had the opportunity to be at Northwestern and win a Big Ten championship. Had a chance to spend 6 years in Indiana to build a program that's still doing pretty well. And those are actually the two programs with the most losses. So I've seen the two spectrums of where it is. But I'm grateful with the opportunities and jobs and the people we had that Coach Meyer gave me and my family an opportunity to be here. And with that, to work with Ryan and Coach Doug, Coach Alford, and now Coach Hartline, the guys we got to really, most importantly, anything else. And if you saw it practice, they just go out there and practice and have a little fun with Josh Myers and Wyatt Davis and kind of rib Ruckert and Luke a little bit and have a good old fashioned play, get a little pass pro down there, make sure the defensive linemen know you're there and just have a little fun coaching ball. So very, very grateful to be here and excited to finish this season. And if we're lucky, have the opportunity to keep doing it in the years to come.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate you taking the time, and good luck with your preparations the rest of the week. We'll see you in a few days.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you all to all the media for taking the time today. We really appreciate that.